And welcome into another episode of Lock City MMA. This week we have UFC 329, the return of Conor McGregor versus Max Holloway. Let's make some money.
Conor relaxed and smiling. Oh no! He slipped him! Conor McGregor is the new UFC featherweight champion of the world!
I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. The double champ does what the he wants.
Shows some mortality. Look at this. Halloway is Tubman. Stand right here. Oh, encapsulate.
And how does that not get you excited for this week's card? I am friggin' pumped, man. It is the return of Conor McGregor. The Mac is back. It's been 5 years. Everyone knows that he snapped his leg, and it's been kind of a rough trajectory for his life since then, to be honest. But he's back, and he is ready to fight. He's at 170 pounds this time, and he's going up against Max Blast Holloway, who's never fought at 170 pounds, but he knocked people out at 155, so I'm not too worried about him moving up to 170. Now, everyone knows Conor is one of the most elite strikers in the UFC history. He got his come up from the one-punch knockout of Jose Aldo I showed you earlier, and he is just notoriously known for being an amazing striker with a heavy left hand. Now, Max Holloway, though, he's no slump. He is one of the best boxers in the UFC. He's got elite boxing skills and some amazing kicks. Conor also has really good high kicks and spinning kicks, but I just think he might be a little hesitant to throw them since he broke his leg, and this is his first fight back, so this is the first time that he's really going to put that leg to a test, and that's got to be in the back of your head as a fighter who hasn't fought in such a long time on top of the ring rust. As far as a breakdown of some other skills like the wrestling, now Conor in his last two fights, he's lost to Dustin Poirier via TKO. Now we know about the last one where he snapped his leg, but the fight before that, Dustin actually TKO'd him just off straight punches. Conor was getting out wrestled in that first round in that fight, and big secret about Conor, has been this way over his entire career, over every single weight class, is that he just doesn't have a good gas tank. His cardio is all right, but it's not great or elite, and I think Max Holloway is going to use that to his advantage. Now, Max Holloway has fought and beaten Dustin Poirier in that 5-year time frame where Conor McGregor has been out. He fought him about a year ago in his retirement fight. And in that fight, Max Holloway actually took Dustin Poirier to the ground and kind of beat him up for most of the fight, besides one moment in the second round where Poirier landed some big shots on Max. Max really dominated Poirier, which is not a good sign for Conor. Conor in his last two fights against Poirier just didn't look good. He was getting outstruck, he was getting out-wrestled, and you could tell by the end of the first round that he was gasping for air. And that was 5 years ago. Max Holloway might have a couple losses on his record. He did lose earlier this year to Charles Oliveira, but it's not like he got outstruck or beaten up. Charles Oliveira literally laid on top of him playing jiu-jitsu for 5 straight rounds and is one of the most boring fights you'll ever watch in UFC history. So I'm not going to really hold that against Max because Conor's not going to have any threat of that wrestling at 170 especially, to where you need to factor that in. So what I think happens is over the first round, Conor's going to be dangerous. He's a 170er. He's going to have power. So Max is going to have to just kind of dance around the cage, throw some low leg kicks, maybe some body shots, throw a couple jabs out there to try to keep Conor at bay. But pretty much just kind of start to work Conor down, maybe push him up against the clinch, throw some knees. But he just wants to start getting Conor to breathe heavy. I think by round 2 or 3 that you'll see the speed difference. I think that Conor will be slowing down while Max will be actually speeding up, or maybe not speeding up, but hitting more accurate shots at this point because he's got his timing down, he's got his reach down, and he's going to start feeling momentum and kind of just use that to his advantage. And even though I am honestly one of the biggest Conor McGregor fans in the world, I love the guy. I just don't think this is a good matchup for him. I think Max is going to TKO him in the 4th or 5th round. I don't think it's going to be a devastating shot like he did to Justin Gaethje, but it's going to be one of those where he catches him, he gets dropped, and then he's just going to put pressure on him. And I think Conor's just going to kind of accept it at that point because of how tired he will be. I think this will probably be Conor McGregor's last fight in the UFC. He's got a lot of stuff going on in his life. He's part owner of bare knuckle boxing. So who knows? I think he'd be really good in bare knuckle boxing just because of how good his striking is, and he wouldn't have to worry about kicks or wrestling. And he could really use that left-handed to his advantage in a league like that. But at this point in his career, I cannot bet on him. Even though I love him, my heart's with him. I think he did more for the sport of UFC than anyone else in the history of the UFC. So I don't care what your opinions are on him as a person. You have to respect what he's done for the sport. Every single person that's trying to go be this double champ, and they're all inspiring to be him. Let's not forget that. So after that being said, I got Conor McGregor getting TKO'd by Max Holloway in the 4th or 5th round. Lock it in.
Absolutely steamroll this guy within a couple of minutes. It just doesn't stop.
Oh, Paddy the Baddy. Yes, we have Paddy Pimblett versus Benoit Saint-Denis in the co-main event. This will be another very exciting fight and one that you do not want to miss. Now, Benoit Saint-Denis, aka God of War, is a very aggressive fighter, and he always tries to go for the finish, which makes him very exciting to watch and is what kept him in the UFC. The UFC does not like boring fighters, and Benoit Saint-Denis is not that for sure. Now, he's going up against Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. Now, Paddy is going to have the striking advantage in this fight. I don't think Paddy is an elite striker, which we saw from his last fight against Justin Gaethje, but he's definitely a better striker than Benoit. So when the fight is standing up, I can see Paddy having the advantage not only with the striking, but the kicks as well. Paddy is very tall for the division. So isn't Benoit. So I think this matchup, size-wise, is going to look a lot closer, and it will probably be the biggest opponent Paddy's fought so far. But Paddy will be able to use his kicks and even his knees in the clinch to try to win the fight when it's standing up. Now, Benoit Saint-Denis is a really good wrestler. He is known for being a good wrestler. That's where he's gotten a lot of his success in the UFC. I believe he's got around 13 submission wins. And he is very aggressive, as I was mentioning earlier. So with UFC, a lot of the time, you want to take position over submission. So what that means is you'd rather be on top mount in a good position where you can cause damage or go for a choke rather than go all in for one move. And then if it fails, you lose position and even maybe can get beat up by yourself on the bottom. So Benoit kind of does the opposite. He is going to go for every single possible submission and ground and pound opportunity he'll get, and he doesn't care because he thinks he's a good enough wrestler to make up for those scrambles. Now, I do think Benoit Saint-Denis is a slightly better wrestler than Paddy Pimblett, but that's the thing about mixed martial arts is you have to be able to scramble and grapple, not just wrestle. And I think Paddy is a better scrambler and grappler than Benoit Saint-Denis, and I think that's going to be a very big factor in this fight. So Paddy is known to not have the greatest gas tank, but since this is only a 3-round fight, I feel very confident that he'll have plenty of energy to go to the ground or strike with Benoit during this fight. What I can see happening is in the first round, I can see Benoit actually getting a takedown on Paddy. Paddy has been taken down by Jordan Levitt and some other fighters throughout his history in the UFC. But just because you get taken down doesn't mean it's the end of the world with jiu-jitsu and grappling and scrambling. I think those three areas, Paddy's better in. So what I think is going to happen is if Benoit gets him down, and he might even get him in a full mount. I could see that in the first round, honestly. But Paddy is going to be able to scramble and maybe even throw an armbar, a guillotine choke, a triangle choke on Benoit Saint Denis and finish him. I think that is a very, very good possibility in this fight. Paddy Pimblett is the underdog. So I don't agree with it. I think Paddy has the advantage in not only the striking, but the grappling as well. And I think that's going to lead to a lot of positions that get changed throughout the fight. And eventually, through the second and third round, I think Paddy starts stuffing these takedowns from Benoit. And then it's left to a striking match where I said Paddy is just going to start picking him apart from range, and he's going to win. I can see Paddy getting a submission here, like I said, a guillotine or maybe even a triangle choke, but I can also see him winning by decision. I think this is a very good fight, and Paddy, coming off the loss to Justin, has to get back on a good note. So I don't want to say it's a must-win for him, but it's a win that he needs to get if he wants to be in title contention anytime soon. So my money is on Paddy Pimblett. You can lock that in. All right, up next we have a fighter out of Colorado, Corey Sandhagen versus Mario Bautista. Now, Corey is one of a couple different fighters on this card from Colorado, where I am from, but I think are probably going to lose. So it's not going to be a good night for people rooting for the Colorado natives. This is actually a rematch from 2019. In that first fight, Mario Bautista beat Corey Sandhagen via armbar. Now, Mario Bautista is a very compact, muscly guy who just throws with extreme power. And he has a pretty good wrestling game as well, which he showed off versus Corey in their first fight. Corey Sandhagen is just a sappy veteran who has an elite fighting IQ, which is what carried him this far in his UFC career. He is just very smart. He knows how to throw shots from different angles that people don't see coming. And his coach, Trevor Whitman, is just one of the best in the game. So he has a lot of good things going for him, but I just don't think he's going to be good enough to beat Bautista. I think it's going to be a close fight, though. I think Corey could definitely catch him, but he doesn't have that finishing power anymore. And I just can't see him beating Mario over 3 rounds. So on this fight, sadly, got to bet against the Colorado guy, Corey, and I got Mario winning via decision. And up next, we have Brandon Royval versus Loner Kavanaugh. Now, Brandon Royval is also fighting out of Colorado, but I don't think it's going to be a good night for him. Let's break it down real quick. So, Royval is known for having some very good striking. He's very quick. He has good elbows, good combos, even throws in some spinning attacks every once in a while. Now, in his last fight, he did get knocked out by Manal Kopp. Now, Manal Kopp is about to go fight for the title, so it's not like this guy's a scrub. And in the fight before that, he lost a close decision fight to Joshua Van on short notice. Now, Joshua Van is the current champ, so you can't really hold it against him. It's not like he's fighting some crappy competition and just getting beat. So, with Royval, one of his superpowers is his elite cardio. He likes to drag people into later rounds and just keep the pace up with that striking, mixes in some grappling and wrestling. But he just likes to make it a not clean, kind of a dirty fight to where you're going to have to really push and use your cardio to keep up with him. Now, Loner Kavanaugh is an elite striker. I think this guy is one of the best strikers in their division. The way that he can move in and out the pocket and across the void to land jabs on his opponent is super quick and just super phenomenal to watch. His technique is excellent, and he has an ability to hurt his opponents, whether he's on his front foot or his back foot, so that makes him dangerous anytime that the fight is getting stand up. So you got to be careful when you're on the feet with this guy. Now, his wrestling isn't elite, but I think it's just as good, if not everything is better, as Brandon Royval's wrestling. So I can't see either one of them having too big of a competitive advantage in that realm. Now, the thing that bothers me for Brandon Royval is that for him to win this fight, he's going to have to try to make it a high pace, striking match that will go deep into the third round. He's going to try to mix in some wrestling to get Loner tired, which won't work. And that's just not going to be a good result for Brandon. I think as he's trying to push the pace, one of his downfalls in his last couple fights is he's very hittable. And Loner will crack you. I mean, this guy's got some crazy power and some extreme accuracy. So for Brandon Raw Dog Royval to win this fight, he's going to have to make it a dog fight. And by making it a dog fight, I think he's just going to get clipped way too much. And it's really going to be bad for him. I think he's going to get clipped, go down to the ground, and then Loner will either ground and pound or let him back up. I think it's going to be a good fight. I think it's going to be very high action packed. The flyweights always give it everything they have, and it's always super fun to watch because how quick they are. I just don't think Brandon Royval has the talent or the skills to be Loner Kavanaugh. So I got Loner Kavanaugh winning a very good, very close fight by decision, and you can lock that in. In this next fight, we're going to go over real quick because it's going to be a quick fight. You guys better not get up to go to the bathroom or get food during this because this will be a first round KO. I have Terrence McKinney beating King Green so bad that they're going to call him Bobby again. So Bobby and Terrence have some real life beef and they just don't like each other. Bobby could catch Terrence, but either way, this is going to be a first round finish. You can bet on it. Don't blink. It's going to be quick. This guy is like, he's going to be the next fucking Bo Nickel, so I already hate him. We got Gable Steveson versus Elijah Trashcan Ellison. I mean, Elijah's a fucking trash can. Gable's getting taught by John Jones, who's a fucking scumbag. I don't think he's the GOAT. But it's going to be a quick fight, first round finish. If you need to pick up your kids, call your wife, go take a piss, take out the trash, fucking go step on a rake, dude. It would probably be more exciting than this fight. Gable's going to take him down, ground and pound TKO. It's fucking easy money. I already don't like Gable. Fuck this guy. All right, in the next fight, yeah, fuck Gable Stevenson. We got Cody Garbrandt, no love, versus Adrian Yanez. Now, Cody Garbrandt was a champion. You know, he's only 33 years old, but he has had, I mean, a historical fall off from grace after winning that UFC championship. It literally needs to be studied because this guy just doesn't want to fight anymore. Sometimes in the UFC ring, you can kind of notice when people want to be there or don't want to be there. Via example, when Ilya quit on the stool against Justin, he didn't want to fucking be there. In Cody's last couple fights, he just runs around the ring, he throws leg kicks. He actually won his last fight because the opponent kicked him in the nuts so many times, they had to take multiple points away. So he won by a decision. This guy's last win came off him getting kicked in the freaking nuts. Like, he's not good. Adrian Yanez, he's coming off a draw, which everyone that was watching that fight against Ricky Simone knows that he clearly won the fight. You know, he has some really good boxing, and he has some elite combo activity with how quick and accurate that his combos can be. And I think that's going to cause a big problem for Cody. Cody is not a great wrestler either, so I think Adrian has an advantage there as well if he wanted to bring him down, which would be a good game plan, I believe, in the first round, because in the first round, Cody can strike. He is powerful to start. So if you're ever going to get caught with one of those big shots, it's going to be in the first round, kind of like a Conor McGregor, right? But if you can get him out of that first round, I mean, he's just going to lose because his gas tank is so depleted. And honestly, I seriously don't know what happened to him. To be a minus 450 favorite for Adrian over a former champion who is plus 330, it's just crazy. But I have to agree with it. You know, I just don't see any way in which Cody wins this fight. I can see a realm where he just runs around, throws low kicks, and Adrian just beats him on points because Cody does 0 damage. And you're going to watch that and be like, what the fuck was that? So honestly, I got no love for Cody, no love Garbrandt. I think he's going to lose via knockout in the second or third round to my boy Adrian. Lock that in. And next, we have Kaya Komaka III, the fighting Hawaiian, versus Luke Riley. Now, Kai is a pretty good striker. He has a good jab, and when he wants to close the distance on the opponent, he likes to throw this big overhand and then move in behind it. So, not the best. I think Luke Riley is a supreme boxer. He has very accurate, powerful punches, and he lands some great combos when it comes to head and body shots, which keeps his opponents kind of guessing where they need to defend. He's not as good as Kai when it comes to wrestling, so he will have to be cautious of that when he's throwing kicks and, maybe start throwing some knees if Kai tries to take him down. But overall, this fight is going to be a really good fight. Kai is a sappy veteran who fought his way back into the UFC. So he's hungry because he knows that this is going to be his last chance. And I think it's going to be a good fight, not because their talent levels are super close, but it's the experience levels of Luke, who's still coming up. He's 13-0. He's got 70% of his wins by knockout. So, I mean, this guy's got heavy hands. And I think he's England's #1 prospect. So he might put some pressure on himself. It's a card with Patty on it. So, I mean, the crowd is going to go nuts for him. And it's going to be an electric environment. I think what's going to kind of happen is in the first round, Kai will probably take Luke down at least once or twice. And they'll have some competitive scrambles. And it's going to be a close first round. I think Luke will probably do enough standing up on the feet before the takedown to maybe win the round on damage. But the way that UFC judges score things nowadays, you never honestly know. So with that in the back of your head, if Luke just does that for 3 rounds, he's going to lose. But that's where I think Luke will start stopping those takedowns in the second and third round. And by stopping those takedowns, it's going to force more time striking, which he is just going to demolish this guy on the feet. I really do think a knockout is live here in the second or third round. But Kai is just one of those sappy veterans who is really tough, and it could be a really hard time to get him knocked out. And Luke doesn't want to gas himself out by throwing nothing but power punches. So it could be one of those Izzy fights where he just outpoints him and gets the decision win. But either way, I do really feel confident that Luke keeps his O and beats Kai. You can lock that in. Thank you for making it to this point of the video. Real quick, if you guys don't mind dropping a like on this video and subscribing to the channel, it will motivate me to keep going. I appreciate all of you, so let's get to the picks. So, most important, Lock City. I got Luke Riley, Adrian Yanez, and Loner Kavanagh for a plus 146. Easy money. I got my KO parlay. Gable, the boring bum Stevenson, is going to KO this trash can within a minute maybe 2 minutes in the first round, minus 300. And Max Holloway, I think, will knock out, or TKO. I don't think it's going to be a big knockout. Probably just one of those TKO shits. Conor McGregor. I hate to say it, but you don't bet with your heart. You bet with your brain. Plus 140 odds. I think my underdog lock this week is going to be Patty. I think it's going to be a dirty fight. I think Patty catches him in a submission. I think he taps out Benoit. I think you can lock in at plus 124. And then let's get crazy. We got something for the delinquents in the stream. Beers for the boys. We got Max Holloway, Loner, Adrian, Luke, and Alexander Costa. Now, we didn't talk about him too much, but Costa's coming in to fight Cody Duran. Cody Duran's fucking bum. Costa's going to knock him out. So those all together plus 398. Again, guys, thank you for watching the video. Bet responsibly. Have a good night, and let's make some money.